Just want to clarify it fully, so before I leave.
Yes.
So now when I was staying in silence, this was the question, I think, or something was coming up this way. So I just wanted to kind of go through with you, okay? So let's say I'm laying down and I'm aware of my thoughts and all the feelings, and I'm not believing into anything, yeah? But for example, a thought comes, let's have a drink, like a water, yeah? I believe into it and I go for it. So is it bad? Because we were talking about you shouldn't believe in your next thought, you know?
Yes. The presumption is that it is my belief in my thought which leads to a particular action. But what you will find is both that the action is as much of an appearance as the thought was. You see, many times you have the thought, I want to get a drink of water, and you believe it, and yet the body is not moving. You see, drink of water not happening. You see, so if it was purely controlled by this belief in thought, your action, then it would just be like this. All of us would go to work like Superman and get everything done because all of our thoughts are always the best, you see. Many times we have this thought the other way where we say we go to work and today I'm just going to tell my boss, I hate you, I quit. We show up at work and we say, yes sir, what can I do for you today? So like that. So the thought is an appearance, an energy construct which is appearing, and the action is also an appearance, an energy construct which is appearing. That's why Guruji says, you are neither the thinker of thoughts nor the doer of actions. So what happens is just because this thought precedes the action, we feel that it is because of my belief in that thought that the action happened. And yet all these actions are happening. My hand is moving like this. You see? Without any thought about it. There was no thought that I will move my hand this way or that way. There is no thought that I will speak these words. It is just happening spontaneously.
Yes, there is one more question. It's connected to this one because let's say answer, okay, sometimes I believe, sometimes I don't. But then who believes it? Because consciousness cannot believe into anything. So then this comes in. It must be another thought. But so let's say yes, sometimes actions appear by themselves unconsciously. Yes, like moving the hand. I wasn't thinking not to move it. There
Exactly.
was no thought. But let's say when I'm sitting in silence and thoughts are coming, just coming, and letting go, peaceful, very nice, and aware of the peacefulness and everything. It's nice, and then for negative thoughts are coming through. Letting go past or like memories, now it's automatically you just don't engage in them. They're not useful. But then let's say, okay, maybe maybe you should plan to book a taxi for tomorrow, and then you can let go, yes, and then I can let it go this way, or I can engage into it and do it, and it won't trouble me. Mm?
So your first part of the question was, who is the one that believes the thought? Because consciousness cannot do it. That's what you say. I say only consciousness is here, therefore only consciousness can do it. And that's why I say that the powers of attention and belief only belong to consciousness. There is nobody else here, you see. We did not find this one. We looked for so many days. So it is only consciousness that has the power of belief. A thought has no power of belief. A thought cannot believe another thought. A thought is just come and gone. It is not around actually to believe the next thought. It's already gone. You see? So it is only in deep sleep state, no question of belief, isn't it? There is no consciousness there, so no question of belief. It is when this dynamic aspect is born, called being or consciousness, then it has all of these powers of attention, belief, identity, and all these phenomenal powers.
But let's say I believe into the thought, and
Yeah.
then I can see that I believed into it as well.
Yes.
So this is not. So this is I see the consciousness believing into the thought.
Yes.
Okay.
Because this is the only I there is here in this way.
Mm-hmm.
And you say, I believe my thought. Which I are you referring to? This I that is being, not the awareness of this being, the being itself.
Okay, and then when I believe into negative thought,
Yes.
how can consciousness be in trouble then?
It's not never really in trouble. That's why I say
Uh-huh.
it is only pretending. The power of belief is God's ability to pretend to be a person. It's a big pretense. That's why in India it's called a Leela, which means a play. You see, it's just a play, it's God's play. To give this play more juice, it gave itself the power of this belief. Just like this, okay. So I take this example often, but maybe you've not heard it. We put on a computer game and then it starts, but you're not believing anything. You're not that character. There's no story that you're engaged with. It has no fun. You must find a relatable character. You must want to kill the enemies of that character. You must achieve a mission. You see? So you have to believe yourself to be that James Bond or whatever character, and then the game seems enjoyable. You read a book. If none of the characters are relatable, you don't feel you connect with any of them. Is the book enjoyable? No. You same for movie. You go to a movie, you cannot relate with the protagonist. Huh? It's boring movie. Like this. So the power of belief is our power to give meaning to something which is just an appearance. But in reality, what happened to God? Nothing. It only pretending. So the game of delusion and freedom from this delusion is all one big pretense, you see.
Yes. So now, for example, when the thought comes, okay, let's have a watermelon.
Yeah.
Going back to this one, I go into it. So there's no trouble in believing it, right?
Yes, you find that most practical thoughts do
Mm-hmm.
not cause this kind of identity
Mm-hmm.
related trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But you see that,
Because I was
but
scared
in
lately,
this,
like, oh
yeah,
no, I cannot believe it. Oh, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna do it. Okay, I'm just gonna stay here.
yes, yeah,
Then boring feeling comes, and then it's more irritating than if I would
yes,
follow any of those. You know?
yes. But the thing, even with practical thoughts, is that sometimes they cause us to maintain this belief that I am the doer. You see? So you'll find that this false entity that doesn't exist cannot be the doer of anything. That which doesn't exist cannot do anything, isn't it? That's all I'm saying. So if the person doesn't exist, therefore this thought is talking to who? You see, this advice that you must eat a watermelon or drink a glass of water is for who? And you say person doesn't exist, we looked and looked and looked, we don't find. You see, then the second alternative is that God Himself, who is the creator and projector of all of this, needs to rely on these practical thoughts to run this life, which is very strange because it is the creator of the thought itself. Then, if it is the creator of the thought itself, why it needs to believe it to do that? So, therefore, you will find that as you let go of all of these thoughts, you will find that actions continue to happen. The fear comes that I'll become like a vegetable sitting on my
Mm.
bed, I won't move at all. But you find that actions move on their own, you find it, you see, but not under the dominance of thoughts. Therefore, that's why I say the key to this conversation always is who is the thought advising? Is it advising a person or is it advising God? Now, person we did not find.
So there must be a person before even the thought comes. but it's not possible. So
There
then,
is never a person.
mhm,
But to play this game personally, this game of thought appearance and belief in thought is happening. To have some juice in this lila.
mhm,
Because actually, it is quite a ludicrous idea that the one that is creating the thought then needs to listen to the thought to be able to run this practical life. You see? Guruji takes this example of the tree. Doesn't need to think about where to grow the next branch and next
mhm.
leaf. Yet it all happens in a beautiful symmetry. You see.
It seems like some things happen by themselves. But it seems like sometimes I have an option.
Who I?
It seems like option comes, but
Option
I'm
comes.
able to say yes or no.
Yeah, but whose options are these? Options for who? That's always the root question, you see.
Mhm.
Because as long as there's a sense that there's a person and there is God, there is me and there is consciousness, then this debate of free will versus God's will continue. Now, the best way to end this debate is to see that there is no person. So, whose free will are we talking about? You see, so the options that I am saying is that okay, thoughts are coming. Now, tell me the options for who should believe this thought. One is consciousness. What is the second option?
No.
No other option. You
Yeah.
see. So, how could it be that that which is the projector of the thought itself needs to believe a thought to run this life?
Doesn't it?
Doesn't it?
It just seems like that it's like an option now. You have a choice to have watermelon or not.
Yes, if God wants to experience the watermelon, God will experience the watermelon. Whether the thought came or not, whether belief went or not. As long as it is clear for you that there
Yes.
will.
No matter what happens after, if I'm going to do it or not, they both seen. So I was thinking another thought is saying yes or no.
And you find that there is no individual doer, then all these questions just dissolve. Because they all rely on an identity. And doership is one of the strongest legs of the ego. In fact, maybe the strongest. Because very often, even when someone has a direct recognition of what they are, they come up and ask, so what should I do now? You see?
Yeah.
So you can play with this actually and see whether in the not believing of thoughts, whether your life comes to a standstill or you become very irresponsible or something like this. My feeling is neither of them will happen.